So I'm here with Daniela, a recovered client of mine, just made a full recovery in about 39 days. Incredible story, and we're here to talk about everything. But yeah, start us off, Daniela. Where are you from? How old are you?
So
any hobbies?
I'm 21 and I'm from Miami, but I go to school at UF. And yeah, I've been in school for a while. For the past 3 years, I'm going into my senior year. But yeah, everything's been good. I've always been a pretty healthy, normal girl.
I feel you. And that's the tough part. Like, talk to us. What was life before DPDR? How was that?
So I've never experienced any form of anxiety. And I told you this, I've never been an anxious person. I would get anxious before a presentation, things like that, but never the type where like panic attacks or I wouldn't want to go somewhere. I would never, even my friends that did feel like that, I'd be like, wow, like I never understood it.
Right.
So I was always super good.
I feel you. Yeah, I used to think mental health was like this like made up thing. Yeah. I just never associated myself with it. I never really understood it, which is pretty,
I never knew the severity of it.
Exactly. So we were just regular chilling, going out, having fun.
Oh yeah.
And then what changed? What happened? What was the first experience of DPDR?
So my first experience was with weed. I was smoking with one of my friends and I stood up. I remember we were all sitting on the couch watching a show and I stood up to go to the fridge and I felt like I was like seeing myself in like another point of view. It was super crazy. And I like kind of started freaking out. I had a panic attack. Obviously I was high though. So all my friends were like, it's just the weed, calm down. You're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to be perfectly fine. And I was like, okay. And I woke up the next day and I was fine. Like nothing happened, but it like kind of like, I felt a little off. Like I was like, I didn't like how I felt, but I felt normal.
Right.
A month went by. I had moments where I felt like a little off, but I was working out. I felt so much better after doing yoga, things like that. And I was like, oh, I'm chilling. And then one day I went out and I drank. And the next morning I woke up super hungover. And I hadn't left the house all day. And at night I left to go get food. And when I got in the car, I had the worst panic attack of my life. I started crying. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I remember my boyfriend was with me. I like wanted to rip my clothes off. I started pacing. He was like, just breathe. And ever since then I got stuck in that DPDR mode.
There we go. Yeah, very similar to me. Very similar to like 90% of the people that reach out to me. It's crazy what weed can do. And a lot of people don't talk about it. And, it's unfortunate, but, we made it out.
We did.
Made it out. So like, walk me through like after that panic attack, like what happened? Did you Google your symptoms? Were you like researching? Like what were the next steps from there?
I thought I was crazy because my boyfriend has dealt with anxiety a lot of his life. So he's had panic attacks, but it was that feeling that as soon as I had the panic attack, I didn't feel real. I remember we still went to the restaurant because I was trying to be like, no, it's fine. We went to the restaurant and I was just crying. I couldn't stop crying. So I searched up, I don't feel real. Like that night I fell asleep and I had a dream. And my dream was so vivid that when I woke up, I thought I was still dreaming. That sent me into a spiral.
Yeah.
So I started searching it up, like what was wrong with me. I started asking people I knew, and a couple of my friends had experienced it too, but very briefly or for like a week, and then it went away. But I think I was so scared that all I thought about constantly, which now we know is what put me in that loop.
Of course.
But I searched it up. I started going crazy. I thought it was because of the weed, so I didn't want to tell my parents, which eventually I did end up telling them because I was going insane. But yeah, it was really, really scary. I would talk to everyone I knew about it, would ask them, would search it up. I don't know what I didn't do. And that's how I came upon your page on TikTok.
Exactly. And when you were actually struggling with it, like what were the main symptoms that you were going through?
The not feeling real. That was probably my biggest one. Existential thoughts all the time. It was terrible. I felt like I was always constantly had such weird thoughts, and then the existential ones, which would make me feel even worse. In the beginning, I don't remember this much anymore, but I briefly remember that in the beginning, I remember I told you everything was foggy. Like my vision was weird. I felt like everything was blurry. I couldn't see well.
Of course.
And yeah, it was like I couldn't see the bigger picture. I remember I always described it like that. Like nothing really made sense.
Because you just feel like you're stuck in that.
Yeah.
Like you can't think of anything outside of that.
Yeah. And it felt like I was stuck in my body sometimes. Like I remember like I wanted to like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's the weirdest feeling. You feel like you're trapped in a body and you're just like experiencing life.
Yeah. I would always say it's like my mind and my body weren't connected. Like it felt like I was like
And that's the depersonalization aspect of things.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. I would look at myself in the mirror and I wouldn't even recognize myself, which is so weird because you go your whole life knowing who you are. But then I would look at pictures of myself and
you're like, what the hell? Like it's the worst experience. And we could talk about the existential thoughts because I know it's something you struggled with a lot. Like that was something that drove me to the point of like such bad depression. And then we talk about the suicide thoughts because you don't see a point in existing. You don't see a point in living. And I was actually talking about this yesterday, but I don't know about you, but I had like the fear of existence. Like the fact that the fact that I existed like scared me. The fact that I lived in reality, like that fucked with me, you know?
Yeah.
What was your take on like the whole existential side of things?
You know, I've realized that like as time went on, my symptoms would change and so would my thoughts. So like the first week of my existential thoughts, it was like, what do you mean I'm on a planet and we're human beings? You know which is like, you talk about that with your friends like normal and you're just like, oh, like you don't really, like it doesn't scare you. But I was like, I remember like I'd be driving in the car and I would look at the sky and I'd be like, I'm on a planet right now. Like I'm floating, like, and it would freak me out. And then it switched from that kind of to like, I don't really know why I'm here. Like, what's the point of all this? Why do we even exist? You know what I mean? And then I told you about this the other day, and then it kind of switched to like, oh shit, I'm real. Sorry, I don't know if I can.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was like, oh, I'm real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a human. But over time, you know, it doesn't scare you anymore. They're just thoughts. And like you always tell us, it's not part of you. It's not who you are. They're just thoughts that come and go, and you just, you know.
Right, but in that moment, it just feels so real, and it feels
terrifying.
Like you feel like you're in a crisis.
Nothing makes sense, literally. Which is so confusing.
No. Yeah, I feel you. So yeah, the exit side of things we can definitely relate on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Any other symptom that kind of pops out at you that's like was really severe?
Everything was just, it's so hard to remember now, just because in the beginning it was so different from how I feel now. But I just remember, I felt like I was never gonna get better. Another thing, I felt like I was the only one that was experiencing it this badly or that was having these kind of thoughts.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that too. We can talk about that. Like, I used to go through the same thing. Honestly, that was like something that like bothered me a lot, that I genuinely, no one actually understood what I was going through. And like, I was just talking about this yesterday as well, how like, I never got that like reassurance that what I went through was actually something people went through until like maybe 3 or 4 months into coaching. Like not even like during recovery. Like during recovery, I still thought I was the only person. Oh, wow. After recovery, I still thought I was the only person. And then it like got better as I went and talked to more people. But I would say like 3 months into coaching, I finally came to terms with what I went through was actually something that another person could experience, you know? But I just thought mine was the worst. I thought like, no, the world had never seen a case like mine. Like, I was alone.
No,
you know?
Me too.
And that was one of the worst parts, just like so isolating. And, you know, like I would watch recovery stories like this and it just like, I would just doubt. I would just be like, like that sounds good, but like, I'm not sure about that. You know, when you were watching my recovery stories or when you were going through my page, what was going through your mind?
Your page actually gave me a lot of hope because it was kind of like the first page I came upon where like, people were being like, yours were the only recovery stories I saw, to be honest.
Yeah, literally.
And I watched them all the time just because it gave me hope. Like, you know, maybe it was possible for me to get out of this because like we've said, like recovery is it's not linear. So there were days where I felt so much better and I was like, oh, like I'm doing this. And then the next day I'd wake up feeling 10 times worse. And I'm like, oh, that's it. Like I'm never going to recover from this. But then I would look at your videos and I would see people explaining it and talking about it. And it would give me more hope, you know, like maybe I can get better, fully recover.
100%. And that's a good point. Like the DPDR cycle is so frustrating because like I had my days where I felt like, okay, maybe this is working. And then I had my days where I'm like, this is the worst thing ever in humanity. And you know, that's a DPDR cycle right there. Cause like people stay in that loop forever. Like I'm sure you've seen the people on Reddit, they've had it for 20, 30, 40 years. They're not like about it, like, you know, kill themselves like all 40 years. Like, no, like they have their good moments, they have their bad moments, but all in all, they're stuck in the cycle. And you have to understand that is part of the cycle, that like, in order to break free, if you want long-term freedom, you have to come to terms with, okay, like it doesn't matter if I have a good day. I have to recover fully. I can't live my life like this.
Exactly.
But it's easy to get complacent. Like it's easy to like, if you're having a good day, being like, cool, like I'm on the right track. And then when you have a bad day, it's like you're just waiting for that good day again. And then it's like the whole thing. But yeah, let me see what else I had. The worst symptoms we already went through. Did you ever feel like you were the special case, the worst case?
100%.
Yeah.
I remember, especially during my existential thoughts, I always thought like there's no way other people are having these thoughts that I am, because you think they're so absurd and crazy.
Yeah.
And they are. You even sent in one of the messages in our Discord. You were like, guys, like I talk to all of you all the time, and I promise you're all having the same exact
it's the same
thoughts.
stuff. It's so funny.
Yeah,
so
which
funny.
is crazy that like we're all going through the same thing, but you think that you're having your own thoughts, but we're actually all having the same thoughts. Which that's why it helps so much to have a community where you feel like you're not alone, because that's probably one of the worst things, feeling like you're the only one going through this.
Yeah. We're definitely getting into that. But I want to talk about at what point for you, did you ever have a point where you're like, I just can't live like this anymore? Like I need to get help. I need to recover.
Yeah, it was the point where I was scared. It was starting to ruin my relationships with people, because I felt like I was changing so much. Like I said before this, I was such an outgoing person. I could talk to a wall. Like I wanted to go out with my friends, spend time with them. And it made me into a person where I never wanted to leave my house. I was scared to do anything. Like I started talking to my friends, but I wasn't there. Like they always told me, I feel like you're like spaced out, you're somewhere else. And it's because you're always in your head, these thoughts.
Of course.
And my boyfriend, I was so scared. I was like, because there's a point of it, there's a symptom where you also don't feel emotion.
Of course.
So like I knew I loved him, and I knew I loved my friends, because like I know them, but I wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? And so there was a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's changing me as a person. I'm scared it's going to ruin my relationships. And I don't want to be that type of person. Like I know I have so much yet to live, and I have such a bright future ahead of me. I can't let this ruin it. And I was suicidal at one point, like I was crying every single day because I didn't feel like myself, and it was the worst feeling ever. And that's when I was like, I need to do something, because there's no way that God intended for me to live out the rest of my days like this. So
that's the truth. You have to get to that point where I talk about all the time. It's like life or death point. And it's a very important point to get to, because without that, you don't necessarily have the motivation to actually recover, because I mean, my turning point is very similar to where like the suicidal thoughts got so bad to the point I'm either going to make this happen somehow, some way, in some fashion, I didn't know how, or I was going to take my life, or I was going to go to the psych ward, or I remember searching up on Google like psych ward Miami, like all that.
Wow.
And the last option was kind of just living my whole life as a victim. Like that was actually probably the scariest part. Like the taking my own life is pretty scary, but it actually brought peace in some type of way, like mentally. Because it would end. But like living the rest of my life like a victim to my situation, and just as a victim to everything. Like I envisioned this life for myself where I was nobody. I was nobody, had no purpose, no point of even living. Like I let my little brother down. I let my family down. I let everyone in my life down. I let my younger self down. That was something that broke me down. Like I can't imagine telling my little version of myself that I wasn't going to hit my goals or even someone great, So at that point I was like, I would rather die trying genuinely than live a life where it's just not, it's not even a life,
100%.
So that point was really important. And then when you came across my page, like what was the difference? Because I'm sure you might have seen a lot of DPDR content. Like, why did you trust me to help you and not like a therapist or someone else? Or we'll talk about the therapist, but like anything else online.
I think just your content, like what you were saying made sense, and you sounded so sure of it. And also one of the first things I did was go to the recovery, your interviews. You had some interviews up when I joined.
Yeah.
So when I saw those and so many people talking about it and how they were actually getting better. And when they were talking about their symptoms, it was like the same thing I was feeling. So it made me feel like you knew what you were doing, So obviously I trusted that. And, you're so desperate in that stage that when you see something like that and people recovering, that's where you want to get to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad, the recovery stories of like, did those surprise you? Did that like give you hope?
Definitely
'Cause
gave
you
me
don't
hope.
see that. You don't see that anywhere else
Yeah,
online. No.
Definitely gave me hope because, like I said, it was the first time I saw something remotely close to that. So it gave me a lot of hope knowing that other people had felt this way and they were okay now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we're doing here as well.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Cool. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, before you even came to me and actually committed to the program, what were some solutions that you tried to recover?
So I did do therapy.
Right.
I remember I came to you.
Mm-hmm.
I told you about it, and I was at this point I had already told my mom. And once we got to the finance situation, I spoke to my mom and she was like, parents, she was like, I have a therapist. She's awesome. She's helped me so much. She says she knows what you're going through. Like, give it a shot. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm going to do it. I'll do a month of it. If it doesn't work, like, it can't hurt to try.
Yeah. So like, exactly. Like we had our call, went great. Then you went back, kind of run it by your mom for the finances. And then she's like, try this therapy. And then at that point, that's your mom. And you're like, okay, like I'll try it, And then I tried to tell you how like everyone I've talked to ever said how it's not necessarily the cure. It could help with anxiety here and there, but it's not the cure. But at a certain point, I felt like I needed to let you go experience that.
Yeah.
And I did. And how was your experience with that?
So therapy did help in how I was feeling, not in the long term. So, because what the therapy I did, at least, you were just talking about how you felt, which it helped me diagnose like, certain things, why, like she explained like the brain and all this stuff. But it wasn't giving me a plan to recover. Like it was kind of like we'd sit every session, we'd talk about how I felt. We would do some like envisioning at the end, some anxiety tools that could help for anxiety, some breathing techniques, things like that, which in the moment I felt great. 10 minutes after I felt great, 40 minutes would pass and I was like, I'm back to square one and I feel the exact same way. You know what I mean? Which that's what I realized. To recover from DPDR, you need a plan, which is what you do. And therapy doesn't give you that. Therapy are techniques that'll help in the short term, but won't help you in the long term to fully recover.
Boom. There we go. Okay, so how many times did you try therapy? Like how many sessions?
I did it for a whole month.
A whole month. Like how many sessions was that?
It was a session a week, so 4 sessions.
4 sessions.
I probably did a little more actually. I probably did like 5 or 6.
Okay, cool. Like at what point did you kind of realize that this wasn't the solution?
Halfway through. I was like, this wasn't the solution. But since I knew, my mom wasn't gonna finance situation, I had to work a little bit before then to be able to come back. I was also embarrassed, like you gave me the shot, you don't have that many spots, you gave me an opportunity, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna do something else. So I was kind of a little nervous to come back and ask if I could join the program.
But I told you the door was open.
No,
and
you were
did.
super nice
And I
about
remember the day you did, and you were like, you were down in the dumps that day. You sent me a voice message like,
oh, I was hysterical.
Yeah, you sent me a voice message like, I'm sorry, but I really need your help.
I need to come back.
I really need to come back. And of course I let you in, but we can talk about therapy real quick because so many people have the same exact experience. They go down the traditional route, talk therapy. No, this person must know how to help me. And they get disappointed, because the truth is that, just like you said, therapy can work in the short term, and like talking to someone about it and at least feeling understood, that feels good. It's like, okay, finally, like I can actually talk to someone about this. But what they don't know what's going on subconscious when you talk about it and when you keep telling this person what you're going through. And every time you show up to that therapy session, you're there subconsciously, even if it's not in the forefront of your mind, you're there because you want to get rid of this thing, right? You want to fix yourself. And what that does subconsciously is that really hurts you in the long run. You're reinforcing your mind that something is wrong with you. You're reinforcing that you need to get rid of this thing. This person's going to help you. You're going to sit there and talk about it the whole time, And what that does is like, it really does mess up your nervous system, like I said, because you want your nervous system to feel safe. When you're going and reinforcing and talking about it, it subconsciously really does make you feel like you're in a sense of danger, So that's kind of what went wrong. And that's what goes wrong with therapy in general. And I guess another even more important point is that they don't actually know what you're going through.
That's what I realized even like right now, it's like a little light bulb, is that they do want to help.
They do, no,
But
for sure.
I've realized that they've never gone through it. So they don't know what it feels like. So they think that this is helping short term. But since they've never gone through it, they don't know that like when you get off that call, if you're not taking action, doing a plan, it just makes it worse. Which is why also I felt so comfortable when I saw your pages, because I knew you had gone through it. Like I heard your story of how it happened to you. So I knew you had experienced it too. So I knew if you got out of it and you went through it, then you knew how you were helping people, you know?
Exactly. And like, people have to understand that, like, I'm not against therapy. Like, therapists are good people that help different people with different problems, right? But the truth is that they're just not skilled enough. Like, at a certain point, like, honestly, when I was kind of hearing all these people tell me therapists don't work, I was like, damn, like, what the hell is wrong with these therapists? Like, I don't like these people. And at a certain point, I realized that it's not their fault. They were trained a certain way. They've gone through schooling, books, and those books contain nothing about DPDR. They've heard of anxiety. They've heard of disassociation, which is a symptom of anxiety. They've never actually been trained on how to actually cure DPDR, you know? And worse, the worst part about that is they've actually never been through it themselves. So it's like the blind leading the blind, you know? It really is like the blind leading the blind. So at a certain point, I came to terms with like, they're just not qualified enough. It's not their fault necessarily, you know? But when you talk about getting the right help, it is important for someone to have actually gone through it. Or if they haven't gone through it, at least they need to have a track record where they can say, Daniela, that person covered with my help. You can ask them, or like, I have results, you know? Because I believe like someone somewhere in the world possibly has that. I mean, I've never seen it, but if they were to, I believe that you just need to have results. You need to know that your way of doing things actually works. You know? So there's a lot of problems with therapy, and we can talk about this all day long, but you know, lack of experience, lack of knowledge, lack of skills, and ultimately just not really knowing how to help you.
That's also another thing. DPDR isn't that common in like, I feel like the therapy world. Like they just say anxiety, which I guess it is a form of anxiety, but it's so much deeper. Like it's like its own world pretty much.
Exactly. It is its own world. And that's why you need a specialist. You need someone that's actually gone through it and been there and can help you, you know? But yeah, you know, I have hundreds of thousands of people telling me they've therapy, and it's just like time after time again. It's disappointing when someone tells me like they want to go try it. Like I was talking with this very nice girl the other day, and she's gone through it for 7 years of DPDR. And we had a great call. She was all in. She's like, awesome. Let me talk to my dad about the finances and that. Cool. After 7 years, they're finally going to try therapy. At that point, I'm just like, I told her like, Daniela told me the same thing. And, you know, I'm going to have to let you go and try it and let me know how it goes, you know? She'll probably text me within the next month. But it's like, that's another thing. It's like, if you had it for that long, therapy is a damn thing. For you, someone who's like kind of new, someone that was new into it, who like just wants someone to talk to, that could be good, you know. But someone that's been it for so long, even like a year, even a year, like that's a long time. You know, surface level therapy isn't gonna do a damn thing. You know, and that's just unfortunate. You know, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, we just talked about that. Yeah, I mean, even right after therapy, you reached out to me. Did you have any doubts about the program? Did you have any doubts that you can actually recover with my help?
Of course, I feel like when you're in that stage, there's always doubts, just because your brain's going to tell you, no, you're not going to be able to recover. Like you're the odd man out, you know? But I was desperate. I was at that point where I have nothing to lose. Either I do it and I fully recover, or I do it and I'm at the same point I am now, which, you know what, I'm going to take that chance and hopefully recover, because like I said, nothing to lose.
That's exactly right. And how did you deal with like that in the moment anxiety where it's like, should I really go all in? Should I really invest myself into this and, you know, trust Andres to help me?
It was just, I don't know. obviously I was scared, but at that point my mindset was I have to give it my all, you know, because if I don't, like I was scared to be stuck like that forever. And that's why I think I was so motivated. Like, if I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna go all in, I'm gonna give it my all, and I want to fully recover, you know, and that's why I was like, I'm gonna do it. That's it. Like, I have nothing to lose.
That's it. How important is going all in, Daniela? I talk about that concept all the time.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do it if you're not going all in, because it is a lot of hard work. Like, it's not like you can't expect to just start the program and like, you just do what you've been doing for the past 6 months. You've been stuck in DPDR. The only way you're going to change is by taking action, completely changing your life. Like you said, becoming the best version of yourself. And that takes work. You know, it's not easy.
Boom.
So if you're not all in and you don't have the motivation, there's going to be days where you don't want to do that stuff. So if you're not committed, it's going to be easy to slip up.
Of course. Going all in. I don't think many people have actually gone all in on something ever in their life. 100%. And that's the tough part. And that's something I realized, like my version of all in before DPDR, I still had my version. Like, I was a lifelong athlete, like going all in was a thing. But what I did, like, I can't talk highly enough about like that moment. It was June 9th, 2024, where I literally decided that I was going to give it every ounce of every fiber, every cell in my body to make this happen. What happened that day, the decision I came to literally changed everything. Like, literally the morning I woke up, I felt like a new person because I burned the bridges. I was like, I'm never going back to that ever again. Never. And I don't know about you, but like I felt this motivation, like this fire in my soul. I just felt it. I knew that I needed to get out. I knew I needed to make something happen. And I just had to be delusional about it. You know, I had to believe it was possible, even when every single thought, my mind was literally trying to destroy me, you know? Have you ever had that where it's like your mind was literally trying to sabotage you?
All the time. Yeah. And I would get these thoughts so annoying. Like, I remember, like, I would get thoughts like that where like, it's not going to happen for you, you're not going to recover. And I'd constantly be like, no, go away. And then back, they're so nagging and so annoying, which you help us like go through that, obviously, because that's also a symptom of it. But yeah, all the time, my mind was always against me when I was in that state.
It's crazy. It's crazy what the mind is capable of. Like, I remember genuinely, like, my mind wanted me to just stay stuck, and I could feel like it grasping onto anything it could to try to drag me down.
Yeah.
I could feel like, I remember my self-talk was so negative. It was so bad in the beginning when I was recovering and I was like on this path and I was like, yeah, I'm going to make it happen. Like, instantly it would be like, you're never going to recover. You're never going to recover. Like, why are you even doing this? Why are you even trying? Like, what is this all for? You know you were meant to live this life. Like, why are you even like, you're nobody. That's what it was trying to tell me. Like, I don't know who you think you are, but you're not going to make it. And it was so negative. And I had to push through that. And obviously certain techniques to help, but holy, just like bring me back to that, how absolutely crazy like my mind was.
That's what this whole thing has made me realize, is that the mind is very powerful, which like people know, but not like to the extent. It's like, it's insane. And that's why also you were saying like being motivated, it's obviously very important. And like there's days where you wake up and you have that fire and you're like, I'm ready. But then there's also days where you wake up and you feel like you're back at square one. And that's why you need someone to hold you accountable. Because if you're doing that by yourself, which I don't know, props to you for doing that, but if you're doing that by yourself, it's really hard.
Yeah. And that was kind of my next question for you, is like, do you feel like you could have done it by yourself eventually?
Maybe eventually, but it would have been months and months later of like actually being to the point where it's like, I need to take this seriously. I can't. Because when there's days where you wake up feeling super motivated, like I'm going to crush today, I'm going to do amazing, I'm going to recover, I'm done, like I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. But then there's days where you wake up and you feel terrible. The symptoms are 10 times harder and you're like, this isn't working. So you just want to stop, you know? But when you have someone there to hold you accountable and be like, no, you have to do stuff, you have to do your non-negotiables, then it's different. Even when you don't want to do it, you know you have to. But if I were by myself, like I could have seen myself like, you know, not half-assing it or not.
Of course.
Doing it all the way.
And did you have time though? Like, how do I put this into words? Like, for me, even if I recovered eventually, my clock was ticking. Like I was suicidal. Like I don't know how people at that point where it's like, why are you choosing to live that way? No, like I didn't have time. That was one thing I didn't have. And that's a lot of my clients. Like they tell me like, I asked them this question, like on a call with them, you know, like, do you feel like you can do it yourself? And it's like, maybe, but it's going to take me, I don't know how, and it would take me years. And the truth is that you don't have years. You need this gone now, you know? So yeah, let me see what else I had. I was about to ask you something else. Oh yeah, so cool. You joined the program. What did that first week look like for you?
So you obviously give us, like when we start the program, we go through all the videos, which explains everything to us. Then you give us our non-negotiables. We start like the weekly calls. And I remember that first week, I instantly already felt so much better. Because, you know, you have something to look forward to. You know you're working towards getting better. You have a plan, a set plan, which I love plans. So you have a set plan.
You need a plan. You need a plan.
You need a plan.
You cannot recover without a plan.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. Like if anyone's watching this right now,
it's not possible.
Create a plan for yourself. Like create a plan. I don't care. Start somewhere. I started with the most basic plan. It doesn't matter where you start. Just start somewhere.
I remember before I came back to you and I was like, I would watch your videos to try to get like little snippets of what I could do by myself. Like, and I started doing, like, I think one of your interviews, you said like, oh, like we had non-negotiables. So I started making non-negotiables for myself, but they were super stupid. It was like, do your laundry today and clean your room, you know, not at the same extent, but it's a start.
It's a start, you know?
But yeah, I remember the first weekend, I obviously already started feeling so much better. My mindset had shifted. So that in itself already makes you feel so much better because you have a new perspective of looking at everything. So I felt already 10 times better, but like we said, it's not linear. There are days where you wake up
1,000%.
and you feel like you're right back at square one, which you're not. I promise you, you're not. We talk about this all the time. You could be so much closer to recovery than you even realize. You could wake up one day feeling terrible and the next day be recovered. Like that's true. That's how it works. So you can't give up.
It's true. In the sense of like, that's 1,000% true. Just like I always say, your breakthroughs are around the corner, right? But it's not around the corner if you're not putting in the work. The breakthrough only happens through the work. 100%. You know, you're not going to break through by waking up one day and hoping and praying that something different is going to happen today. You know, nothing changes if nothing changes. You have to absolutely work. Eventually you'll get to that point where you're recovered, but you can't pretend like that was something I struggled with, where it's like, I just did it. I don't know what was happening. I was procrastinating. The work, and I just hoped that one day it was going to be different. Me too. You know, I think we all have, it's like, please, like tomorrow, next week, next month, I just want it gone. And that's just not the way things work. You know? Nothing is given to you in that fashion in your life. You know?
I thought the same thing before I joined the program. Like I would wake up and I'm waiting for the day that my brain would switch again and I'd be back to normal. And sadly, that's not how it works. And I remember I would cry and be like, I wish there was like a pill I could take or something to make it go back to normal or anything or something easy, you know, but it's not easy. It takes hard work.
Not easy. It'll never be easy, you know? And then like when you were going through the program, like we said, it's not sunshine at all. But you do have your good moments. Like I remember 6 days in, you were telling me this is the best I've ever felt.
100%.
And then 2 days later, you told me like, I'm dealing with some thoughts today, like the symptoms. But how did I pick you up from like that point? Because when you're at that point, if you're doing it by yourself, you're probably just going to go back to square one.
It's really hard,
You know, you're probably just going to be like, we're back in it. But how did I actually help you during those tough moments?
I think, you were always there for anyone in your program. Like if they were going through a tough moment, like we could call, we could text, you'd always answer. But I think it was just, again, you had been through it, you had recovered, you knew what that felt like. So you also know how to help us. You know what I mean? Like that's what the program is about. So if I had a tough moment and I would tell you like, I'm dealing with these symptoms really heavily today, like my thoughts are going crazy. Cause there were days where I felt like I would wake up and my thoughts were coming at me so fast, I couldn't even make sense of what I was thinking. Like it was just like, oh my God, it was terrible. But you knew how to help us. You knew what to say. And it was also that like, that little push of being like, don't give up. It's normal to have bad days, which that's what helped me so much. Because when you think of recovery, you think that each day you just get a little better, which you do, but you don't expect some days to feel back at square one and feel terrible, you know? And you made it known that that's okay. don't give up. This is normal for you to have days where you feel worse. Keep going. Don't give up. Keep trying. And you would give us techniques in that moment to deal with whatever symptom we were dealing with, you know?
Exactly. And the way I like to talk about recovery is it's like a stock graph, right? So it's like a good stock, right? Let's talk about Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin skyrocket, right? And that's how kind of recovery is at the beginning. Like you're hit with all this information, you know, like, wow, I understand everything. I know what to do. He's helping me. Boom. Now you're up. But Bitcoin's had its moments where it's down, you know, but at those moments, you don't just lose all hope and just like throw in the towel, because it's like a graph. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. But the overall trajectory is up. It's up. But when you're in those pivots, you're like, fuck, am I back here? But you're not back here. You're up still compared to how you were before. Keep going up, you know? And that's just how it works. And a lot of people, it's just very frustrating. I understand how it's very frustrating to feel like you're doing good, feel like you're doing not so good, feel like you're doing good, not so good. But that's recovery, you know, and eventually you break free, you know? So, I mean, at what point, did you ever have a point, Daniela, where you really felt like, wow, I think I did it. Like I recovered.
Yeah. And it's crazy because everyone thinks that like, it's going to hit a day where you're like, or like you're going to wake up one day and be like, it's gone. Like I just woke up and it's gone, you know, which it's not like that. It's gradual.
It can't happen like that. I've actually heard some stories where it's like that, where it's like, not that it's just like for me, for example, I remember the day where like I affirmed it, like I stamped it in. I was like, this is my day. I recovered. And that was really powerful. Like that technique I use is really powerful. But like I have heard, and even some people in my program where it's like one day it's just kind of gone, you know? But for the most part, it's not.
See, because for me, like I would wake up days where I'm like, I feel amazing. But again, the brain never stops nagging. Like halfway through my day, I'd like, boop, it like a little remembrance, like, hey, remember that you had, like whatever.
That's it right there. I want to talk about that. Just like that reminder. And that was the reminder of DPDR is something that keeps people stuck in it for so long. Because at that point, I remember I talked to you about this. When you were at that stage, I told you, like, Daniela, you're recovered. The only thing left was that little thought habit, that little reminder that would pop in. And obviously I helped you through that. I told you, smile at it, smile at it and just continue on and show it how you're living your life now, But now go ahead. How did that feel like to?
Oh, I thought I had to sneeze.
How did it feel like, or at what point did you feel like you really recovered?
There was a day where I woke up and I was like, I feel good. Like I didn't have any of my symptoms anymore whatsoever. It was just like I said, those little thoughts of like, which I guess it is a symptom of DPDR, but like I didn't feel any symptoms. Like I felt normal. Mm-hmm. It was just like every now and then it'd be like, hey, by the way, remember that you had? Yeah. And so like, that's why I feel like for me, it was gradual because I felt completely fine. I just had those moments where it was like trying to like nag me and like remind me of it. And then there was one day where like, I remember the whole day went by and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about it today. And I was like, I'm good. Like I felt normal. I didn't think about it. I was talking to my friends, like nothing wasn't even a thing. And that's when I was like, I remember I was so happy. I was like, I'm done. Like I'm recovered. It's just not, like I'm good now. Yeah, I was so happy.
I remember receiving that text too. You're like, oh my God, Andres, I did it. I recovered. And I mean, it's just awesome. Obviously it happened so quick. And now that you're here, you don't even really remember what that was like.
Yeah.
And that's actually the beauty of recovery, I feel, because you don't have to live with that trauma. You don't have to live with those experiences. Like it's not like that. It's not traumatic because of state dependent memory. And I think I told you this at the beginning. I told you, Daniela, when you recover,
I'm gonna remember, which I thought was crazy. I thought that was not possible.
You thought that was a story or something. But explain that to that. Like explain that concept. How does that feel? Like?
So when I was in it, I didn't even remember what it felt like to be normal, which is also because of that. Mm-hmm. And I remember I thought it was so traumatizing. I was like, there's no way that when I recover, I'm not going to remember what I felt because I felt so bad in the moment. Mm-hmm. But it's true. Like I remember one of our like last few meetings, we had the meeting and I was like, Andres, I don't even remember what I used to feel like. Like even now, like, yeah, I kind of remember, like I remember talking about it, like saying how I felt, but I don't remember what it is I felt in the moment, That's what it is. You remember talking about it. Yeah, I remember explaining how I felt.
Right.
But not how I actually felt.
That's the same thing with me. Same thing with me. Obviously, like I talk about it all day, all night.
Yeah.
So like I definitely I remember in ways, but it just feels like a distant memory. You know, it feels like something that happened, and I'm just kind of trying to recall it.
Yeah, you're trying to recall it. It's not like it's all you think about.
That's it.
Which is like the switch.
That's it. Cool. And then made a full recovery. And what was life after that? Like,
it's been like, awesome. I recovered right before summer. Lucky me.
That's perfect timing.
I was just in Disney this weekend with some of my friends. We did Drink Around the World. I love that. We went to Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom. I've been in the Keys the whole summer. I went lobstering. I caught some lobsters. Which I was like, I'm going to be underwater. Nothing happened. I was awesome. I didn't even not even a thought in my mind. You know, everything's been awesome.
Drinking around the world. Wait, talk about that for a second, because I know you used to drink like here and there, you know, having fun. A lot of people did used to do that, and then now they feel like they can't do that. Like, is that something you went through as well?
I struggled with that a lot even after recovery, just because I feel like I associated, because the first time I got my panic attack was super hungover after a night of drinking, you know? So it's not that when I drink, I get scared. It's the day after. Like if I've had wine or a little too much to drink and I wake up feeling hungover, instantly my first thought is, oh, am I going to feel it again? Because the first time I felt it was when I was hungover.
Yeah.
So that was something I struggled with even after recovery, just because, you know, your brain associates it with that. So I would wake up hungover and be like, I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel it. And like those thoughts in it would lead to me like overthinking it. But I did Drink Around the World, woke up the next day and I was fine. I went to Hollywood Studios, nothing. It was like, you know, you just get to a point where, you know, you're recovered. There's no reason why it would come back just because you're feeling hungover. I went the rest of my entire life drinking and feeling hungover and not having a problem. So
yeah, of course. And I talk a lot about how like once you actually overcome it the proper way, you aren't going to experience DPDR again. You can experience anxiety. Sure, that's like a normal thing that I've even experienced, you know, but you're not going to be stuck in that cycle again. Because that's a thing. What a lot of people don't understand is your trigger isn't what caused DPDR. It's how you responded after. It's the obsessively thinking about it. It's the researching it. It's the freaking out about it. And what that did is it left an imprint in your mind about this thing that you literally it just has a hold on your mind, almost like glue. Yeah. It feels like your mind is like obsessed and stuck with this thing, you know? And that's what causes you to like, you know, like you talked about, it reminds you of it. It's like, hey, by the way, you still have this thing, but it's like this lingering little thought.
Which is so annoying because like, why can't I get obsessed like that with something else? But like this thing, it's just, but once I realized that, you know, being hungover doesn't cause it, it's just your thoughts. I was fine. Cause that was one of my fears. I even told you, like, once like I recovered and the program was over, I was like, hey, like, are you sure I can drink? Cause I'm a little scared, but no, I was fine.
Of course you can. Of course you can, in moderation. I don't want you to be blacked out.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. Yeah. Everything in moderation.
And what aspect of the program do you feel like made the biggest impact on you? Like, or was it like everything together, you know?
I honestly think everything together. I think it was you holding us accountable, your guidance, also the community of it. I remember like, obviously I don't know any of them personally, but like there were names that I would like see pop up like constantly. And like, I started like, you know, like being invested in their story, like, oh, how are they doing today? Like even now, like I'm still part of the Discord. Like I see familiar names and like, I'll click and see how they're doing, you know?
Right.
But I think the community knowing that, you know, you're not alone, you're not the only one feeling it, hearing other people like explain how they were feeling and also how they're doing better, like how they like pushed through those like bad days. You have so much advice on like the Discord page. So like when I was feeling bad and I like wanted to hear a concept or a tip, I would go to that page, whatever. Or just like if I felt bad, I could reach out to you, you know, and you could calm me down, help me, give me advice, techniques I could use in that moment. So I think overall, also the non-negotiables, that helped so much, so much, because that's what helps you change your mindset, helps you become the better version of yourself. Like there's things that I did that like I'm going to do the rest of my life. I told you now I'm doing 75 hard with my boyfriend.
I love it.
We want to continue that, you know? So
I love it.
I think the whole program as a whole.
I love it. And what do you think contributed to such a fast recovery? Because like people watching this don't even understand how the hell you recovered so quick. Yeah. Now, was it a mindset? Was it generation of the program and the mindset? Or like, how should they approach recovery?
I think it's a combination of everything. You need to change your mindset. If your mindset is still in that, I'm never going to recover, I'm not going to give it my all, it's going to take a lot longer and it's going to be a lot harder. You need to shift your mindset. You need to be ready to give it your 100% all. Because again, if you're not, it's not going to be as easy. And it is hard work. But I think the program, just the way you structured it, the way you did everything you include is what makes it possible to recover so fast. You know, because you have all the right tools to help someone get through it and quickly.
Of course. And speaking about like recovery and how hard it is, say, like, am I making you climb Mount Everest or like what?
No.
Like, is it simple? Like,
it's simple.
Or should they prepare for war?
No. It's simple. And you explain it in terms that like anyone can understand, which is what's awesome. What I mean by hard is that, like you said, we've gone our whole life never giving 100% to something. So that's what I mean. What's hard by it? That like,
that's literally the hardest part.
That is what's hard.
Like getting yourself to be the point, like, I am doing this. I am going all in. I am going to make it happen. That's it. That's
what makes it hard. It's not like you said climbing Mount Everest. It's that it's giving it your all and committing to it and doing it every single day, even when you feel bad. Because like realistically, we're all lazy. So we are though. Like human beings are so lazy. So when you have to do all those tasks that you give us every single day, especially when you're in that state and that's the last thing you want to do, like it's hard to do 75 hard when you feel completely normal. Imagining having to do stuff like that when you feel like you're not real. Like it makes it harder. So that's what's hard about it. Not because what you're telling us to do is impossible.
Exactly. And now life after recovery, just like how you feel, like, could you even put that into words? Like how you feel?
You know, I can't say DPDR changed me as a person 100%. It changed my mind. It changed everything. But I'm grateful for it now, for the better, because I've changed so much. But I've also, like you say, the program isn't about getting rid of DPDR. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. So I really do think I am the best version of myself now. And I think it's changed me in a way that's going to help me so much in the future. And I feel like I dealt with that. I can literally deal with anything. Like, I think that's the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my entire life. So I feel so like empowered and so...
It'll be the hardest thing you've ever had to go through.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever go through anything like that.
No, which meaning that like you can always, like, if you're ever having a tough moment in life, you can look back and be like, wait a second. I literally came back from that. I can do this. Like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I approach everything, to be honest. Yeah. It's like knowing what I've done, that confidence is literally what, like that confidence is literally what helped me to take off, like in this space, like just crush it, you know, because you feel like you can do anything, because it's true. You can't do anything. You can't. If you can come back from that, you can't do anything. So yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest takeaways I took from recovery was that everything is possible. Yeah. Everything you want to do is possible, you know?
100%.
How did you become a better person? Like you said, like you're a changed person. Obviously not in a bad way, like, you know, but like what actual traits do you feel like you're better at? Like, what are you better at now?
I think before I didn't realize that my routine and just the way I was living was not, you know, it's not how I should have been.
Right.
And I think that's what helped me. Like, I created such good habits during the program that I realized how bad my habits were before, you know?
It's so true. It's so true. Like when I was just living my life before, we can talk about like reminiscing on how your life was before, right? When you're stuck in DPDR, you always look back and you're like, damn, my life was so good. Yeah. Like I was living carefree. And what you don't realize is that version of yourself was the version of yourself that got you in the States one way or another. And it's hard to come to terms with that. Like I was like, no, my life was great. Like, no. But then at a certain point, I'm like, damn, I was really just I was not doing what I should have been doing, you know? One way or another, anyone going through it, they have bad habits. They either have, you know, could be drugs, weed, whatever, or it could be genuinely just not taking care of themselves how they deep down know they should be.
Yeah, it's your body reacting out, you know? Like if you're going into that state and a panic attack, your body's trying to tell you something. And for me, it was my bad habits. Of
course.
So that's why now my habits have completely changed. Also, like I used to read, but like now I'm actually reading books that better me, which I love. So I've learned so much about how to change as a person. My mindset has changed, how I view everything has changed. And I feel like now I've always been a grateful person, but now it's like times 100, which I didn't even think was possible, but
times 100. It's just like life is beautiful again. Not again, life is beautiful.
Always.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. And what would you say to someone, Daniela, who was in your shoes not too long ago and who thinks like recovery is impossible? Like they're watching this, like that's cool, Daniela, and I know you're telling me all these great stuff, but like I really feel like my case is special. What would you say?
I would tell you in the nicest way possible, no one is that special. We all feel the same things. And seriously, every thought you have that you think is the most absurd thought you could think of, I've probably thought it too in that state. And Rick, recovery is possible. You have to give it your all. You can't give up. And you really have to go all in. I mean, I've been right where you are. I've been where I cry every single night, literally feel like I'm a different person. I'm depressed. I'm suicidal. I feel like I can't do this anymore. And there is a way out and you can do it. You need to do the right things, the right people. I mean, I'd tell anyone to join on this program in an instant just because that's how you're going to get to full recovery. And just do it. Please do it because there is a way out. Yeah. 100%.
I love it. I would say a very similar thing. Like, don't give up. Your breakthroughs around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And if you actually apply yourself for the first time in your life, you can get unbelievable results.
100%.
And yeah, I mean, kind of next question I was going to ask you is, what would you say to someone who's actually kind of on the fence? They're on the fence. They've seen my content, seen the results. They're watching this.
Yeah.
But like, they're like, should I do this? Is it like, can I really recover, etc.? Like, what would you say to someone who's actually on the fence?
Well, I was on the fence, and like we said, I did therapy. I tried it on my own too. And, I would just say you can't keep second guessing because like I said, you have nothing to lose. You can either fully recover with the program or you're back to where you are right now, which then you got to keep trying. So what do you have to lose? There's no reason to be on the fence. I was, and now I'm fully recovered.
That's it. Period. That's it. Let me go back. I mean, we're done with everything I was going to ask you. I know you had some questions, right?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead. We got like 5 minutes left. Let's do it.
Okay, then I'll ask the one I thought was the best, which is, how did you find the most successful method to create your program / how did you recover?
So how did I actually come about this? Well, it all started like when I was in the shoes of everyone watching this right now. I had no idea what to do. I was so beyond lost. I was just there's no words to explain it, Yeah. But what actually changed things for me was doing something. So I came across this challenge online called 75 Hard, right? I was like, that's interesting. Like, that's something to do. Like, I need to commit to I like deep down inside, I knew I needed to commit to myself to something. So I was like, okay, let's try this thing. Not let's try it. I was all in. I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I was so fed up with myself at that point. It wasn't even like I needed to recover. I was like, I just want to be able to say I committed to something, And I did that. And within a week and a half, I was like, wow, like I feel better. Like this is actually improving. But I was like, there's something missing. And I was like, I have to be doing something wrong, but I'm still I was better. So at that point, from there, I literally just refined my process as I went. With all great things, you have to start and then you refine it. Like there was this one video of Mark Zuckerberg. He said, I didn't know how to build anything. He built Facebook, he built Instagram, but he said, I didn't know how to do a damn thing. All I knew was I had to start somewhere, There's so many stories about companies that, scaled up to I don't know how much, but at a certain point, like Amazon, like Jeff Bezos was literally taking orders from his garage and he booked out his first order to someone in Bulgaria. I saw that video too. So with all great things in life, I had to just start and I had to refine my process along the way. So the method I used to recover was the same one I taught, but it was a abstract version of it. Like I didn't have it refined. And that goes to show you, even without the perfect method, you can recover if you fucking want it bad enough. to be honest with you. I wanted
So
it.
what was your abstract?
The abstract way was me figuring it out, honestly. It was me just like putting pieces together. And at a certain point, I remember it was like 3 weeks in or 3 or 4 weeks in, I was getting so interested. I was like, okay, why am I feeling better? And then I got into neuroplasticity and I realized like, okay, all I have to do, like what I came to figure out is the way the brain actually worked was it takes all the information you give it and it gives you an output, right? So it's almost like Google. Like you go on Google, you search up like how to bake a cake. You have to put the H, you have to put the O, you have to put the W, you have to put the space bar. So what I realized is like, if I come up with the right input, I'm going to get my desired output. That was bottom line. So I was like, okay, how can I control every controllable aspect in my life to get the output I want? So that's when I came across like actually refining my process. And, I made a full recovery and I took on my first couple clients for free, helping people for free. And then as I went, of course, I wasn't perfect. Like, of course, like I was still figuring out how do I actually coach people, And, just like through the process of coaching people, through the process of, creating my course, that didn't come to be out of thin air. I had to create my course. I had to create my program. I had to create my Discord. I had to create, when my clients tell me, how do I overcome XYZ? I had to come up with the exact structure of how to overcome XYZ. So it's all a process of building this empire and building something from nothing. But yeah, ultimately, the main thing that made me recover, I would say, is wanting it so bad and never giving up, letting myself come up with an excuse and sticking with my non-negotiables, with my plan. Yeah. That was it, And I think I said it in the course as well. I was like, guys, I didn't have this course. I didn't have someone to tell me what to do. Yeah. All I had was on my notes app, I had this list of things I had to do every single day. And I went all in and I recovered. So imagine you, someone who's like, I said this in the course, like, I'm giving you everything, you're going to recover. Like, there's no possible way you don't. And that's something I realized is like, when you give your brain XYZ, it's going to give you what you want. So that's why I'm so confident about, like, I guarantee results inside of my program. I guarantee recovery simply because once you know how the brain works, you hack into neuroplasticity, you can literally change everything. Yeah. You can change everything, It's a proven system, and that's why I love it so much. I love the brain so much,
It's interesting.
But I think we're about done. We're about done. But great question, and it's been a pleasure. And last thing I want to say is, like, out of all my clients, like, all of them are incredible. But with you, something I really respected was that you trusted me so much, and you just listened to what I had to say, and you did it, and that is why you got the results you got. It wasn't rocket science, but it was a lot of trust, and I really appreciate that. And you took the steps necessary, and we made a full recovery, like always.
Well, thank you. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. And I tell you all the time, like, your program, like, you saved my life, seriously. So thank you. We owe it all to you, seriously. You're doing such a great thing.
Thank you. Well, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.